was saying it's not how you play the game, but whether you win or lose, or something like that. Or maybe I've got that backwards. I still say it's who you beat. Well, I wasn't intending walking all the way down to the castle, but it looks like it's going to happen. Be a shame not to complete the walk all the way now I've come this far. And down by the castle is quite a nice place to sit and get the flask out and have a mug of coffee. Now the difficulty, of course, in this sunshine, trying to see an LCD screen on the back of the camera to see what I'm actually getting is slightly problematic, added to the fact that my glasses have also totally blacked out with the sunshine. Not actually a bad walking surface. It's on mostly compacted gravel and shingle, but it is fairly well compacted. If you walk along the top, walk along the water's edge is much looser and bigger gravel and shingle, so it is hard walking. The top is not bad at all. I've walked much worse roads, much worse routes. That takes me back. Well, as I said, I didn't intend walking all the way to the castle today. It's a fairly good stroll, but we're almost there, so crazy to turn around and walk back at this stage, wouldn't it? The Isle of Wight almost looks like a part of the mainland. There's the island, and you're running along the island, and then that is the Western Solent. The gap between the island and Hurst Castle is actually quite small, although you do get some very strong currents running through there, so don't really advise trying to swim or row across. Gravel and shingle does get a little bit looser and a bit harder walking just here. It's still not like walking on Chesil where it's absolutely tiring. I think they just piled a lot of gravel and shingle up here to try and shore up the shingle bank itself, and possibly doesn't get walked as often this far down to compact it with people's footsteps. Boat there going into either Yarmouth or Keyhaven, possibly Yarmouth. Beautifully calm sea today. I remember about many years ago sailing into Yarmouth one winter's day. It was blowing a hoolie, tide was running out, and as we got to this point, round about here, as we rounded the castle, there was a large boat. It was coming out, which reminded me of one of those canoes you see on the opening shots of a YE50. And I thought, do I really want to sail into that? And then I thought, the alternative is to go round the island and come in from the other direction. Been there, done that often enough, got the t-shirt, etc, etc. And I thought, I've got a pint waiting for me in the Bugle on the Yarmouth Harbour front. Go for it. Once you get past that initial few yards and into the channel, it's all flattened out and calmed down. It was just where the wind over tide was hitting the shallower part in the gap here. But there we have it. The end of a long stroll along Milford Shingle as far as Hurst Castle. I've still got the stroll back actually, so it's would they say almost as far walking back, or usually further walking back when you have to retrace your steps rather than do a circular route. At least it always feels further. As we're here, having walked all the way down, wasn't my intention, but you know it is with most walks, you go so far and you think, just do a little further. I'll just do a little further, and well, you know how it goes. And before you know where you are, you've walked twice as far as you intended for the day, and at some point you stop and think, oh God, I've got to walk all that way back. Always much prefer circular walks, or somewhere where there's a simple exit at the end of the walk without retracing all your steps. Such is it. This is the backwater. There's actually a ferry you can get from Keyhaven which brings you to and from the castle if you just want to come here for a picnic and don't fancy the walk. You may notice a small change in the video quality or appearance as having walked to the castle. I found exhausted the memory card I had in the other camera and neglected to have packed a spare memory card. I switched to the spare camera. Still ice in the puddles here. Thick ice. Yes. Few bird watchers out today. Has something special been spotted?
Yeah, there's a thing called a shorelark. Been here for a couple of days now, but it's kind of gone missing.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's in the kind of the salt marsh habitat, so there's be anywhere really.
Yeah, it's a big area.
It's a lot of habitat. Yeah.
There was a large group about 2/3 of the way along the bank that seemed to be all set up as if they'd found something.
Yeah, well, that's where it's been hanging out, but it's been sort of moving along the spit a little bit more
Yeah.
today. But they're probably just waiting in the hope that it returns to that location because it sort of feeds there quite a lot. But I thought I'd strike out and...
Most things return to their breakfast spot, don't they, eventually?
Yeah, that's why I'm going to head back to now for the last bit of light. Really.
Good luck. Last bit of light indeed. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Should probably be almost the light gone by the time I get back to the car. Gosh, cafe's closed. Wouldn't have expected that, would you? I think all I've seen on the latter part of this walk is that one bird watcher we just stopped and had a chat with. I assume the very narrow gauge railway here was something to do with running ammunition out from the store inside here out to the gun emplacements or something. VR 1873, Victoria Regina. That's 150 years or something plus ago. That's the details on the information board. Sophisticated fortress built by Henry VIII, either to protect from invasion or somewhere to hide out from one of his mothers-in-law. Everyone forgets that about our Henry. Yeah. Not only had half a dozen wives, poor bloke had half a dozen mothers-in-law as well. It wouldn't be a walk without a muddy patch. Whew. There's the lighthouse and a couple of cottages. That's where a long stroll to pop out of the shops for a pint of milk or a loaf of bread. I'm assuming this was a mounting point for some sort of gun or something. Certainly mounting one here would give you a fairly impressive view across the channel. And you can see how the tide races through there. And the corresponding blockhouse on the other side. These steps are actually quite slippy walking down, still a lot of ice on them. As you can see, the frost on the ground here is not really thawed out yet, and this time of the afternoon it's not going to thaw out today. None of these emplacements certainly looks like a mounting placement for guns and some sort of storage possibly there. Another one here. Let's have a look, see if I can find some information that I can leave a link to in the description here below. Anybody knows a bit more history of the place than I do, feel free to enlighten us all in the comments section. There is the Isle of Wight. Didn't film the entire walk back because I always find return walks rather boring. I much prefer circular walks myself, or a walk where you can hitch a lift, get a bus or whatever at the end and not have to retrace your steps. But I thought, as we're losing the light, it's about 10 to 4, get a few shots of the walk back. So the tide's receding and now you've got a lot more shoreline to walk along at the back of the bank. And you see what I said earlier about when you fish at night, casting out and finding your bait and your rig sat up on a patch of mud somewhere rather than actually in the water where the fish are. I started to walk back about 3:15. It's now about 5 to 4, but I stopped and sat and admired the view and had a cup of coffee for 10 or 15 minutes. I'll think about another 10 or 15 minutes back to the car from here, so realistically I'm not the world's fastest walker, not the world's slowest either, so half hour, 40 minutes walk from Castle's a nice steady stroll if you did it without stopping, but why would you want to do it without stopping? So it's lovely views to stop and admire. It's a shame not to stop and sit and, you know, I'm not saying call a picnic, but you know, flask of coffee or tea or soup or whatever your favourite refreshment is.